Calvin Johnson a Hall of Famer?
That's a tough question. I think he is in terms of impact and ability and what he did, and I think he will get in, but I think it's going to be a case where he'll come up and kind of have to go through the course like some of these receivers have done recently. He was a force, didn't win a Super Bowl, but he was, for 4 or 5 years, he was the best receiver in football. So I think you'd have to say yes.
Yeah, you know who is really being short-sighted here is Isaac Holt. Torrey Holt, I should say. Torrey Holt is being...
you're talking about Isaac Bruce?
Yeah, no, Torrey Holt. Torrey Holt's numbers
Torrey Holt. Okay.
are crazy numbers.
That group, again, for about 5 years, Isaac Bruce, Torrey Holt, and Kurt Warner put up unbelievable numbers, and they were throwing the ball as well as anyone, and it was beautiful to watch. They're kind of going to split some votes and who do you put in first, and very similar to Swan and Stallworth. When you have two guys like that on the same team, it becomes a little harder. But, yeah, they put up some big numbers, and they were tough to cover.
If I said you could have Calvin Johnson or Hines Ward, an entire career.
Well, Hines played a long time and did some. Calvin Johnson was the ultimate. Calvin Johnson dictated coverages, did some things that don't show up on the stat sheet. You couldn't play Calvin Johnson one-on-one at a period of time in his career. So guys like that special weapon, Randy Moss, when he was hot and going, you played certain coverages the whole time, and it didn't matter what else happened on the rest of the field. You take your chances with those guys. So guys like Calvin and Randy, to me, you put in a different category.
All right, Rob Gronkowski, Calvin Johnson.
I'm still taking Calvin Johnson, I think, in his prime, in his best years. That weapon is so special. People ask me that about Marvin. Marvin put up unbelievable numbers. Sometimes in the playoffs, people would do things and play certain ways, so you're not going to have a big game. Our whole last drive in the AFC Championship game, New England played one coverage the whole time and doubled Marvin, and we threw every ball to the left side and went right down the field because Marvin Harrison was on the right-hand side of the field. So some of these guys just go beyond numbers with their impact on the game.
Before I let you go, have we done a 180 when guys retire earlier than we think they should? Do we respect them now, whereas maybe we looked at them and 5-10 years ago we look at them, certainly 20 years ago you look at somebody differently, but
yeah, I think it is different, and we'll see the greatness of Calvin Johnson. We'll look back and say, man, this was unbelievable. Barry Sanders did the same thing. Jim Brown, and I can remember when Jim Brown retired, I was a little kid, and how could he do that? And he's great, and this is the wrong thing to do. But now we look back, and Jim Brown is special in my eyes and in a lot of people's eyes. Barry Sanders, to me, is special. To walk away and probably have 4 more 1,400-yard seasons in him, I know that, and it doesn't take away from the greatness. I think Calvin Johnson will be the same way. Not now, but 10 years from now or 15 years from now, people will look at it differently.